So the questions really are what's the chance something going to happen? What's the likelihood that something could happen that causes major repair or replacement? If it does happen, how much is it going to cost to fix? And then, would I have the money to fix that? So if the answer to the last question is no, then you probably need to have some better insurance coverage and some lower deductibles, okay? Because, and I am not a licensed insurance agent, insurance broker, insurance anything. I have no formal training or licensing in this. So this is not advice. This is just things that I point out to my clients that I'm like, hey, these are questions you should ask your insurance agent. You should ask your insurance broker. You should ask your insurance carrier, okay? These are questions you need to ask them to make an educated decision in how you structure those policies. Because I can't tell you how many times I have buyers under contract that I'm like, okay, go shop your property insurance. I always give them a lot of information. But for the ones that don't have a lot of information, or something comes up or they have questions, a lot of times if their car is insured through, I don't know, XYZ company, they go to XYZ company and say, oh, okay, well, the quote for the homeowners insurance was $3,600. And I'm like, what? Because with all the properties I see, and I lose it, this happened to me about a month ago, I was like, that is nuts. Depending on the property and the roof and other things and the credit of the person, and there's a lot of factors in there. But I do this enough to have a rough idea of what people are paying as they're getting, purchasing homes and getting insurance on those homes and what those homes are like and what kind of materials are in those homes and the roof and the replacement costs and all those things. I have a rough idea. So, and they'll just get that quote and they'll say, okay, and then they'll give that to the lender and then the lender will pay it and set their escrow amounts based on that. And their monthly payment might be $200 higher than it needs to be because their insurance coverage is something that doesn't make sense based on those risk, cost to repair, and disposable income questions. So talk to your insurance agent and say, do I need this? Does it make sense? What's the chance this is going to happen? Okay? Because most of them, a lot of times they'll just give you a quote or they'll compare to what you have now if you're shopping it around, and they'll just say, hey, this is the closest to what you have now, but what you have now may not make sense for your situation. So you really need to look at those things. And what I want to talk about is deductible and understanding that, because I find more clients that carry really, really, really low deductibles, right? Like something were to happen and they only have to pay $1,000 out of pocket. Cool. But you might be paying an extra $1,500 a year in your premium because your deductible is so low. So unless you're going to file a claim in 10 months, you're going to lose money on that calculation, right? Because you're going to pay that premium every year, that difference in the premium for this low deductible that may or may not save you a bunch of money, depending on the risk for the potential issue that comes up. And so considering the recent hailstorms that have come up and recent rains, I've had a lot of clients reach out and literally, I have this one client, she's awesome, but she understands insurance. So she calls me and says, is this, so they had a sump pump failure, right? And she said, is a sump pump failure considered XYZ cover? Like, is that going to be paid under my water backup endorsement, right? Because she's more worried about, is this covered by my insurance? Which is an important thing to be worried about when your basement floods. But the other thing is hailstorms, right? So you have different deductibles for different issues, and wind and hail will come in usually on its own deductible. But I have so many clients that carry really, really low deductibles for, roofs that are brand new that are going to last 40, 50 years. Right? Or they're a 50-year lifetime roof or something like that. And it's like, guys, what's the chance something's going to happen? If you don't have an extra $2,000 in your bank account, you need to carry a really low deductible, cool. But you're going to spend that every month anyway in your payment because your insurance is a lot more than you need. Or maybe it's not enough. That's the other issue we run into with hailstorms. Inevitably, because this happens every time, right? And this is where I kind of had a pucker moment the other day because we had a major hailstorm. And then I go look at my policy and I'm like, oh, okay, coverage is not what I thought. How old is my roof? Okay, I'm okay, based on the age of the roof. So it's very policy dependent, but understanding your deductibles and your roof replacement coverage for a wind or hailstorm is really, really, really important, okay? A lot of times your deductible for wind and hail is different than your deductible for, like, if your sump pump doesn't work or if somebody breaks into your house and steals your stuff. It's usually a lot higher because roof claims are the most likely claim and they're very expensive. So understanding actual cash value versus replacement coverage is really important for your roof, especially if your roof is older. Actual cash value essentially just depreciates your roof based on an age schedule and says, hey, you have a 30-year roof. For example, the carriers are all different in how they do this, is my understanding. But you have a 30-year roof, it's 20 years old, then okay, we're only going to pay you a small portion, the 30% value of that roof that is left. Plus, maybe you have a crazy high deductible. Well, now you're only getting maybe $2,000 or $3,000 from the insurance company based on what it costs to put a new roof, and the rest of it you're coming out of pocket for. Okay? So understanding your deductibles, understanding your coverage on your roof replacement, understanding whether that's scheduled, whether it's actual cash value, whether it's replacement coverage, is it replacement coverage based on the age of your roof? I ran into that with one of my policies, that they'll replace it as long as it's less than a certain number of years old, and you have to have proof for that. You may have to go pull city permits, talk to your HOA on ACC files that have been formed, or forms that have been filed. Talk to, looking at your due diligence documents from the previous owner if they have the roof replacement information, all that kind of stuff, because it becomes a little bit of an investigative scenario. You have to go find out and say, hey, my roof is only 11 years old. That's going to save me $10,000 or $15,000. This stuff matters, guys, and it matters all the time, but nobody thinks about it till it hits the fan. Okay, so if you happen to get through the most recent hailstorms and get out unscathed, take this as a sign to go understand your homeowner's insurance policy, understand your deductible, understand how old your roof is. Have a roofer that is knowledgeable and trustworthy come out and look at it. If you need some of those, reach out to me, because a lot of roofers will say, oh, you got hail damage, you can get a new roof. Okay, cool. That's like saying you had a nail in your tire, but it can be fixed, and then you don't have to spend $300 on a new tire versus $15 on a repair. Not all damage means replacement. People throw things away nowadays instead of fixing them. It drives me nuts. Your roof's job is to keep water out of your house. So the question is what's the likelihood it's going to continue to do that in the near future, right? What are the chances the tires are going to keep you on the road and moving forward in the near future? Same type of thing. They are wear items. They are meant to be repaired and replaced on a particular schedule or when necessary to keep you safe and do their job, all right? So anyway, I know this is kind of a rant. There's just a lot of insurance stuff going on with all the hailstorms, with all the water backup coverage, with all of these types of things. And it's really, really, really critical that you understand your insurance coverage and understand, hey, what does that extra coverage cost you? Does that make sense for you and the potential risk of it? And if it were to happen, would you have the money to fix it? And do you want to pay that every year as a safety net, just in case it does happen? You don't have to worry about it. Or would you rather save the money and then put them, pay it out if that thing does hit the fan or it does happen and now you don't have that coverage, but maybe you haven't been paying the premium for that coverage for 10 years and you saved $8,000 and now it's a $2,000 problem and you're like, okay, cool, I'm still ahead of the game. So understanding all those things will make such a difference in your homeownership experience, in your insurance experience, in your monthly payments, and your escrows going up because you'll get a notice that says your escrows went up because your insurance went up. And I'm shopping one of mine right now because it went up $1,100 in 1 year. It went up 60%. My insurance premium went up 60% on a property. And so my thought is I need to go shop this. I need to make sure my coverages are right. What's the chance of XYZ going wrong on that particular property? What makes sense for me and my safety net and my coverage and my expenses, okay? So anyway, if you got any tidbits out of this that you found helpful, please hit the like button and or subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. This is the kind of stuff I talk about. It's what I advise my clients on. So if you are looking to buy or sell in the Denver metro area and you want somebody with this level of understanding and that can explain all of these things to you so you can make an educated decision and inform you of what questions to ask the experts that can get you to where you need to go, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love the opportunity for an interview. I'm very passionate about my job and very passionate about people understanding what they pay for. Okay? So please feel free to reach out to me. I would love the opportunity. If you need me in another area, reach out. I am very picky on the agents that I refer. They are knowledgeable, they know what they're doing, and they have a lot of experience. So I have a form for that down below. So anyway, thanks so much for the time. Hopefully this was helpful, and y'all have a good one.